Good morning, parents. Welcome to the Calm Confident Parenting Group. I am coming to you this morning to talk about the secret to solving any parenting struggle you have and why working with a life coach will help you discover this solution much quicker and much easier. So stay with me. If you're new here and you're new to my style of coaching, this is really going to help you understand how I work with my clients and what I do in a session to help them to feel confident and know exactly how to handle any situation that they come in contact with in regards to their kids. So this is really the main tool that I use when it comes to coaching my clients in a session. So you can get a little sense of what it's like to have a one-on-one session with me. So when we were doing the webinar, How to Follow Through with What You Say to Your Kids, I was actually using this tool in that webinar. And what that is I was using a tool called the thought model. And so the key and the secret to solving any parenting challenge is to look at your thoughts. Okay. So I always talk about how in this group, how thoughts are optional, right? And they come from the idea that you have an event or something that happens to you, and then you have a thought about that event that makes it good or bad, right? And then that thought makes you feel a certain way. So in that moment, when you have a thought, that is why you act a certain way. That is why you parent in a certain way, because you are thinking a certain thing about your kids or about what's happening around you. So when you are struggling in a certain area, let's say your kids won't do schoolwork, let's say they won't do chores, let's say they're not listening to you, the first thing that I have you do in our sessions is write down or actually tell me what thoughts you're having about your child and about the circumstance. And a lot of times people don't even know what they're thinking about their child. And so having a coach helps you to bring out those thoughts. And to really be honest about what you're thinking. And so I want to give you a couple examples of that. So in the webinar, How to Follow Through with Your Kids, we did one of these examples. We did a circumstance of your child says no when you ask them to clean their room. What are you thinking when your child says no or yells at you or cries or screams or whines? What are you thinking? Well, the attendees to the webinar said that one of them said she was thinking that my child is always going to be lazy and they're never going to learn how to, be competent adults, right? Because they're never going to learn how to do these chores and they're always going to be lazy, right? So what happened in that moment is when she thought to herself, my child is lazy and they're never going to learn how to do these chores right, she started to worry. So her feeling from that thought was worry. And then when she worried, guess what she did? She stressed. Her actions were she stressed. She ruminated in worry thoughts. She blamed herself for not parenting them well enough. She felt like a failure and she futurized, right, that something bad was going to happen in the future and made this moment bigger than it was. She made the moment of them not doing their chores mean something big about them and about her. So one of the ways you can access some of these thoughts is to ask yourself, what am I making it mean about me? Or what am I making it mean about my child? Okay? Because there's always something bigger going on that we're just not aware of. So in that sense, when she realized all she was doing was stressing out and ruminating and making all these big assumptions about her kids in the future, the result that was coming up was that she wasn't parenting them the way she wanted to. She was lazy in her parenting. So the thought was, my child is lazy. The result is, I am parenting in a lazy way, because she wasn't actually solving the problem. She was just ruminating and worrying and catastrophizing. So what happens is in sessions, we get to the place where you actually see how your thinking is actually preventing you from solving any of your parenting problems and also making you feel terrible. So we identify the thoughts that are causing those challenging negative emotions, and then we can actually see how those thoughts are playing out in our lives, in our parenting. We see them in the model that I just told you: circumstance, thought, feeling, action, and result. And so when we look at it in those terms, we can clearly see that when we think our child is being lazy and they're never going to learn how to be competent adults, that is causing us to parent them in a lazy way, as in we're not actually solving the problem. We're not actually stepping up to the plate and teaching them how to be competent adults. So I hope that makes sense. So when you're struggling, I want you to ask yourself, why does this bother me? And what am I making it mean about myself or my child? Then write down all of those thoughts, okay? Another example is when I was working with one of my clients, she was really upset and just frustrated with whining and crying. So I don't know if anybody has kids that just whine and cry or talk about, things being unfair. This can be frustrating for parents. And so what I asked her to do is please just list all the reasons why you think this unnecessary whining is annoying you. Okay. And so the thoughts that she had were, it's unfair that they do this. They should see all they have. They should be grateful for what they have. They have no idea how much they have, how great they have it. She feels like maybe she created the situation. She gets mad when her kids whine and they don't understand why that she's getting mad, right? She thinks you're crying over something so simple. This is ridiculous. The problem has been solved, right? So maybe she switches out the peanut butter and jelly for the peanut butter and honey, and they're still crying. She's like, the problem has been solved. This is ridiculous. You should stop. And so all of these thoughts were actually getting in her way of solving the problem. So if her child is still whining and crying after she solves the problem, or she thinks she solves the problem, then she actually hasn't done that. So that's the result that comes up, is that she has prevented herself from actually, solving what's wrong with her child, helping her child figure out how to feel better or how to, solving their unmet need. She doesn't do that. She just has all these thoughts that get in the way of her doing that. She makes it all mean something about her kid being ungrateful. And this is, making it mean something about her, about how parenting, she's feeling it's so unfair. She gets resentful. She says it's unfair that her kids are whining. It's unfair, that they should be acting this way. They should be more grateful. And so she starts adding all of this meaning, and it blocks her from actually understanding what's really going on with her child when they're crying and actually helping them to calm down and solving the root cause of the crying. So when we use this model and we use actually looking at your thoughts, you can see how you're getting in your own way, and then see how you can move out of your own way to use your thoughts to create solutions. So when her child is crying because they don't have the right sandwich, guess what? She doesn't want a different sandwich. She wants someone to listen to her. She wants attention. So when we finally look at it and figure out the cause of the whining and the crying by moving away from some of those thoughts, right? Then she can actually address it and solve it. And guess what? It worked. She validated her child's feelings. She empathized with them, and she didn't solve the problem in the way of changing their sandwich. She just let her feel, and it worked. She was calmer. She felt better about the situation, the daughter, and she stopped crying. And then in the future, it actually prevented some of these situations from happening. So as you can see, your thoughts about what's happening with your child is going to be the key for you to figure out how to solve some of these struggles and to feel more confident in your parenting. If we ignore everything we're thinking about ourselves and about our kids, it will never stick. Okay? You're going to have some willpower. You're going to try to stop yelling. You're going to try to push through some of the tools and use some of the tools that I teach, and it's not going to stick unless you do the thought work and you really look at what you're thinking. So so in my sessions, this is exactly what we do. We uncover all of these sneaky thoughts that we're not aware of. And I actually show you how they are preventing you from from solving your child's issues, from feeling better as a parent, from detaching yourself from how your child behaves. You're detaching from the drama of how your kid behaves. And this is how you do it. You look at what's happening in your mind, and you see how that's creating the result that you have. So I want you to ask yourself, from this video, you guys can take away, why does this bother me? Why does it bother me that she's crying so much? What's going on? What am I making it mean about myself? What am I making it mean about her? None of it is going to be helpful for you to actually solve the problem. So get it out on paper or come to me and I will help you figure that out. on your own. But that's what a coaching call looks like. We talk about what are the struggles and what is going on in your mind that's creating the actual, angst for you, and not necessarily your child, right? So we can always address how to help your child feel better once we uncover what's going on in your mind. But that has to happen first. So that is the secret. And if this sounds like something you want to explore more, sign up for a free call with me. I have a 60-minute free call that you can just see what it's like to work with a life coach and uncover some of these thoughts and see how they actually are getting in your way to solving those problems and to getting some relief and some, from that stress of parenting. Because we actually have control over so much more than we think we do in regards to how we feel around our kids. And so if you're frustrated and irritated and annoyed and angry more than you want to be, reach out to me. I can actually help you feel less stress, feel less irritation, and feel less frustration, and be more effective as a parent. That's what I do with my clients. So I'll put the link below to sign up with me. You can either message me or click the link and schedule a call. I love doing this with parents. It is amazing what happens when you really see what's going on underneath and how it's really the problem and how it's affecting your life. And we can solve it so much quicker than you can on your own, because I am outside of your mind. I can see it much more easily, right? So don't hesitate to sign up. It's a free call, and I can just show you what that looks like. All right, guys, have a great day, and let me know if you have any questions or comments below, and I will answer them. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.